You're listening to Leader Tribe, where leaders are made daily, but never in a day. We're talking skills that are relevant, researched, and ready for action. Apply these and you will grow. Here's your daily dose of growth with Dr. Rob McClelland.
Hello, Leader Tribers. How in the world are you? Dr. Rob, the dad you never had, coming to you live from Atlanta. Hope you're doing fantastic today. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast on the day it was released, this is a big week for me. First part of the week, I'll be in Huntsville, Alabama. I'll be doing some mergers and acquisition training. Looking forward to that. Then I'm coming home. Take off on Thursday for Las Vegas. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to an event that I have been looking forward to since I very first heard about it. A guy named Travis Chappell. If you're into networking and doing it the right way, adding value, leaving every relationship better than you found it, then Travis Chappell is the king of that. And he's a friend of mine. He's putting on an event in Las Vegas. Actually, if you're hearing this on Monday, you could probably still jump in if there's any spots left open. Last time I heard, there were just a couple, actually. I think all the VIP slots were sold out, but there were a couple of regular slots. And it's called Build Your Network Live. Here's what's great about Travis. When you get out there, it will blow your mind. He is going to over-deliver. I love the guy. And so you can check him out at Travis Chappell or Build Your Network. All of that to say, I'm going to be doing this week, my podcasts are going to be on networking, but a specific kind, something that nobody talks about out there. And that is, how do you get noticed by your boss's boss? Okay? How do you get noticed by your boss's boss? Everybody hates brown nosers or the people who are trying to look good. And I'll tell you what right now, if you're trying to get noticed by your boss's boss, and to do that, you're going over the head of your boss, if they think that's happening, you're going to lose. This is not going to work out well for you. But everybody who's at the top of the food chain, one of their jobs is to be on the lookout for talent and to be developing the younger talent. And so they're going to want to work with the people under them, including your boss and others, to help identify those people that they should keep a sharp eye on. What I used to say when I was doing this is keep a clear path above their head. Make sure there's opportunities for those people to be promoted and to grow. So if that's you and you would like to be noticed by your boss's boss, but you don't know what to do and you don't want to appear to be a brown noser, what should you do? Great news. I'll tell you what you should do. Listen to this podcast today and for the next couple of days. There are 10 items that have been identified that will help you get noticed by your boss's boss the right way. Are you ready? Let's jump in. This comes from an article, very recent article in Harvard Business Review, at least on the blog. And it's called How Do You Get Noticed by Your Boss's Boss? So you can just look it up on Gmail. Melissa Raffoni is the primary author of the article. One of the first things that she says that they need to do, and she didn't just come up with these on her own, she actually got with some people who are superstars in industry, asked them the questions, they all put their heads together, they came up with this list, they cultivated the list, it's fantastic. The very first one, you are already good at this because you're listening to this podcast, and that is demonstrate your commitment to your own growth and to the company. Demonstrate your commitment to your own growth. Well, guess what? If you weren't interested in being a lifelong learner, if you weren't committed to growth, you wouldn't be listening to the Leader Tribe podcast. So you're already good at this. But specifically, let's talk about this, because when they say demonstrate your own growth, maybe you're going to talk to your boss and your boss's boss, or drop them an email and say, hey, I want to get better at developing strategy. Are there any books that you can recommend? Or find out an area where the company needs help and then go outside and take a few courses or get some additional teaching. Show your commitment to growth. And then also ask your boss, are there any special projects that I can take on or anything I can do that would help the company in something that they're doing right now? As soon as you do that and you're committed to that kind of growth, that's going to go well for you. Next, number 2, you focus on the team's success rather than just your own success. So you're ambitious. That's why you're listening to this and you want to be able to get ahead. But the way you get ahead is to not leave others behind. Anyone who sees like, this guy's awesome, he's a full team player, he wants the team to do well, they want to promote those types of people to actually lead teams. So you need to recognize that one of your greatest opportunities for success lies in the team that you're on working well together. It's really easy to notice somebody who gives their time and their advice to make other people successful. You do that, you spend your time helping others, making them successful, that's going to be noticed, and you will get the attention of your boss's boss. We are going to go through all 10 this week. I can't wait till tomorrow. And so until then, much love. I'm out. Hello, Leader Tribers. How in the world are you? Dr. Rob back with you. How do you get noticed by your boss's boss, but do it in a way that you are actually appreciated for it rather than looked down upon because you are seen as an opportunist? Well, we are going through that. We covered the first 2 yesterday. Here we go with number 3. You must know your area inside and out. Here's what I mean by that. Every day I work with leaders of businesses, owners of businesses, and they're attempting to sell their businesses, or they desire to, and that's why our company helps them. As a result of that, I see business owners, some of them who really know the numbers behind their business, and others who really don't. They think they're doing well. They're not even sure. And so if you are in charge of an area of business, know your numbers inside and out. If there are 3 different ways to look at this potentially being successful, know all 3 of them. It's not just sales. It's not just the revenue part. It could be profit per customer. You might find that you have 120 products for sale, but only 40 of them are actually making you a profit. The others are taking up warehouse space, but you're not really making any money on them, or the profit margins are much smaller. And here's what else it means. It means being ready to take responsibility, full responsibility for everything that is incorporated in your area. No excuses, no, well, I'm working with somebody else, or this is what I came into. If it's in your area, you own it. No excuses. And that means you're the very first to say, hey, in this particular area, I need to do better. I have not done well here, and I've got to get that area under control. You can be that kind of honest, that kind of authentic, that kind of vulnerable. That is going to get noticed by your boss's boss. Next, the 4th thing mentioned in the article is do what you say and then do it well. Well, you know here, if you've been listening to Leader Triber for any length of time, you do what you say around here. Recently, I was tagged in a Facebook post. It was really something. It was a guy who's going through the last decade of his life. So he brought up something from 2010 on the other side of the world, an organization that I was leading at the time. And he said, we had always wanted to build this type of educational institution for this subset of people, but it was hard to do. That was the year I met Rob McClelland and his organization. Even though they were going to be leaving that area of the world, they committed to helping us find the right building. And Rob came through. He was a man of his word, and they really helped us, blah, blah, blah. That's what the Facebook article said. As I looked at that, I thought, oh my goodness, he didn't have to tag me. He didn't have to say that. It was very humbling. It was very nice. But I thought, what if I hadn't come through? And so I just want to tell you, around here at Leader Tribe, every area we come through, I don't think I've ever committed to something that I didn't actually do it. I didn't do my part in it. And so we have a little saying here, and that is, if we say that we'll do something, you can either count on us, it will get done, or when you find my body, it will be pointed in that direction. So you don't commit to something unless you plan to come through and do it. Hey, it's way better to take on a new small project at work, fully own it, and knock it out of the park. You do that, you're going to have the opportunity to get bigger projects, and your boss's boss is going to take note. Hey, one more thing today, number 5 in the list, continually train yourself to think strategically. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Every single week when I'm working with business owners, I do a part of the presentation that I do on the growth of your business, growth opportunities, specifically strategic growth, and looking at a strategic plan versus a tactical plan. A strategic plan, you need that when, the ship is not taking on water, but it's not going as fast as it could. How do you get that ship planing on top of the water, that boat really moving? That's a strategic growth plan. A tactical plan, that means you are taking on water. You're bleeding cash. Things are in trouble. You need somebody with expertise to get in there. That's going to be a shorter plan. That's going to be 6 to 9 months, and you have to bring in someone who knows what they're doing on those. But during that time, I talk about the difference of working in the business and working on the business. I talk about the E-Myth. Gerber, if you haven't read that book, go back and read the E-Myth. Short book, it's really good. You have to take a step back and work on the business, not just work in the business. That is what strategic thinkers do. You have to continually, over and over and over again, train yourself, step back, look at this overall. Am I really spending my time in the very best way that's going to help me 6 months from now? That is thinking strategically, not just going to work and doing it, but taking a step back and say, am I even doing the right things? Okay, those are the first 5, how to get noticed by your boss's boss. We're going to do the other 5 over the next 2 days. Until tomorrow, much love. I'm out. Hello, Leader Tribers. Dr. Rob with you, day 3 of this week. And this weekend I will be in Las Vegas for the Build Your Network live event with my friend Travis Chappell. Hey, go on Facebook, check out Build Your Network. Just put in the word BYN and Travis. It is the best group in the world for people who love networking, but doing it the right way, where you're going to leave every single relationship better than you found it, and your primary goal is to add value in people's lives. As a result, and I'm gearing up for my time out there, my podcasts this week, they're all very short, but here's what we're talking about. How do you get noticed by your boss's boss? Today is day 3. We've already talked about 5 things from a recent Harvard Business Review article. We are picking up right there. We're going to finish the other 5 over today and tomorrow. Are you ready? Put your seatbelt on. Here we go. Next one we have talked about before. In the article, it is entitled Challenge Old Ways and Find New Solutions. But you know who came up with this? This is directly from the Leadership Challenge, Kouzes and Posner, the greatest research ever done on leadership. And one of their 5 ways or 5 things that great leaders do all over the world, they call challenge the process. I call it becoming your own MacGyver. I mean, figuring things out, looking at this and thinking, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do this. And not going and saying, hey, why do we do it this way? You have that attitude, it's going to be a short-lived tenure. You're going to get noticed by somebody, but you're also going to be looking for a new job. What you might say is, I noticed we've done this, and I'm sure that was by far the best solution at the time. I'm wondering if there might be other ways that we could do it now that would help us out. As I've been thinking about that, who should I talk to? And usually your boss is going to say, well, you can talk to me. If he thinks it's a great idea or she thinks it's a wonderful idea, then she very well might go to your boss's boss with it. Hey, guess what? You got to be careful. She might take all the credit. If so, I wouldn't worry about it. Now you know not to go to her next time with the ideas, but you're not going to sit there and go, hey, and start whining. Here's what you are going to do. You have to look at life differently. There's got to be some creative way. Every company in the world faces a dilemma. It's called grow or die. If you are just maintaining status quo and staying the same, you are not going to live forever. We know that. That's one of the laws of physics. There's going to be atrophy. Things are going to start going downhill. But the next time that you think of an innovative solution or you get some heads together and you want to do it, find the appropriate way to let that be known. In most good companies, they're always looking for solutions, and people at the top tend to notice those who are coming up with new ideas or different ways of looking at something. Okay, next, this is going to be number 7 in the entire list that we've been going through, and that is improve your communication skills. Improve your communication skills. My wife works with a lady who teaches qualitative research to PhD students, okay? And so this is a PhD level class. She said she is blown away by how poor communication skills are. Written communications. People just don't know how to write something that's clear and concise and that makes a point. It's unbelievable. She said, I don't know if the university wants to make so much money, so they're just letting anybody into the PhD program, but she's blown away that people can't communicate. We've talked about this a ton in the Leader Tribe program, and I told you my secret for this. When I was a graduate professor in a university, I would always teach my students, let me tell you how to make sure you're always going to pass. You might not get an A+, but you will always pass, and that is be clear, be clear, be clear. How do you do that? And you start with an introduction, then the body, and then the conclusion. What are you going to do there? You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. For example, this note is going to be about the question of extending our credit line. I am going to talk about the pros and the cons of each solution. And then you go into the body. First of all, the pros, and then you talk about the pros, and then the cons, and then you talk about the cons. But overall, I think we should, and then you build your case, and now it's the conclusion. In this short paper, I've talked about the pros and cons of extending our credit line. While it's never good to be extended too far on your credit, all businesses have to take risks at certain times, and this is a great time for us to take one because of our position in the marketplace, and so I recommend that we do it. And then you get out. You're done, period. Be clear, be clear, be clear. Improve in your communication. If you don't have any confidence when you're making a presentation, that can be helped. I'm just telling you, even go to this article. It gives some resources. The article that I told you I'm talking about, How to Get Noticed by Your Boss's Boss, it's in Harvard Business Review. And you can also learn to have the kind of confidence that you need. That doesn't mean you won't be nervous. Friends, I'm going to guess I've given well over 1,000 talks of some type in my life before. I'm still nervous before every one of them. But I adopt the old Billy Graham saying. He said, oh yeah, I still have butterflies in my stomach, but the butterflies tend to fly in formation. That's where I'm at. You're going to be nervous, but you can still be confident. So be clear in your communication. Tomorrow, we're going to finish up with our final 3. Until then, much love. I'm out. Hello, Leader Tribers. Dr. Rob from Atlanta. What a week it has been. We have been talking about how to get noticed by your boss's boss. We started off on Monday of this week talking about the fact that I'll be in Las Vegas this weekend for Build Your Network Live. It's the greatest networking event ever. And as a result, I'm talking about networking, but it's a part of networking no one ever talks about, and that is getting noticed by your boss's boss. So on Monday, we covered the fact that you have to demonstrate growth in yourself and to the company, and you focus on the team's success, not just your own. Then on Tuesday, we talked about you have to know the numbers in your area, take full responsibility. We also talked about do what you say you will do. Either get it done, or when they find your body, it will be pointed in that direction. And then finally on Tuesday, training yourself to think strategically. Yesterday, we talked about how do you challenge the process, the old ways of doing things, and find new solutions, and then communicating more effectively. Today, we're wrapping it up. The last 3 things. Here we go. Very next one. This is going to be number 8 out of 10. Build relationships with people all throughout the company, not just in your specific area. Hey, recently I worked with a company that is segregated into about 6 or 7 different groups. One of them sort of the marketing group, and another one's a production group, and I'm telling you, the people tended to kind of stick to their own knitting, stick in their own areas. that is not effective if you want to get noticed by your boss's boss. That might help with your boss. But I'm telling you, when you have company activities, when you have opportunities to get outside the norm, to sit with other people, to go up and introduce yourself, it takes 4 seconds. I've timed it. It takes 4 seconds for me to say, "Hi, I'm Rob McClellan. I don't think I've had the privilege of meeting you." Just getting out of your own comfort zone, meeting other people. "Oh, tell me about yourself. How long have you worked here? What area? That sounds fascinating. Why that area?" You start making friends outside of just your own area, that is going to go well for you. That type of thing gets noticed. Next, number 9 out of 10, living the values and the purpose of the organization. One of the reasons that I love working with Generational.com, and that's the company that I work with in mergers and acquisitions, is because of their core values. And they believe in their core values, and they live their core values, and they talk about their core values. The core values there are very meaningful, and they expect you as an employee to live by them. They didn't become number one in their industry by happenstance or just by chance. They did it because they have a set of values and they continue to live by them. And so what is it that your company actually stands for? What is it that your organization, what's super important to them? And then how can you bring yourself in alignment with those characteristics or those qualities or those purposes or values of the organization? Finally, last but not least, are you ready for this? It's not rocket science. You raise your hand. You raise your hand. You say, "I'd like to help. I'm in. What can I do?" You know what? There's a saying, and that says, if you want to get something done, give it to somebody who's already too busy, because busy people get things done. Do not be afraid, unless you are going to be neglecting your family, then do not be afraid to raise your hand and to volunteer for things. If someone needs help, help them out. Look for opportunities to show your skills and your talents. And a lot of times where they're looking for volunteers, those are the things that we talked about a few moments ago. It's opportunities within the company, not just within one group of the company, but opportunities to volunteer, to join a team where it might be a cross-sectional group for many people in the company. And so jump in, explain why you think that you can make a valuable contribution and what you can all gain from the opportunity. Ultimately, your boss and your boss's boss will want to put you in spots where you can do the most good. And so sometimes you just have to raise your hand, volunteer, help out, and say, "Count me in. I want to help in these areas." So here's the bottom line over the whole week. Are you ready? There is no shortcut to getting noticed. You can't just hope that you're in the right place at the right time and that somebody will see your work and your boss's boss will love you and that won't make your boss mad. There is a way to do this. The way to do it is actually hard work and doing some things, but it's the kind of things that all great employees are going to do anyway. If you're going to be a great employee, you do that because you give your very best. You actually care. You get to work early if you can. You stay late. You ask your boss what's on their plate. Is there anything else they would like you to take a shot at or any way you can help them before you go home? And then as far as getting noticed by your boss's boss, 10 different things you can do. And we've talked about every one of them this week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Again, I'm going to be out in Vegas at Build Your Network Live. It is going to be a lot of fun. I am certain I will have some great stories for you, the Leader Tribers, when I get home. So have an incredible week. And until next week, much love. I'm out.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Leader Tribe Podcast. For all the free bonuses and growth articles, join the tribe. It's free. Just head on over to leadertribe.com to sign up, and we'll see you tomorrow for another daily dose of growth.